have in the museum, this is a replica, not an original, of an 1886 Benz Motorwagen. Carl Benz is generally credited as the first person who invented a motorized vehicle. Daimler was working in a town about 40 miles away from Benz and filed his patent 1 month later. So, and there were others that were very close. So there were a whole lot of inventors who were very close. Benz just happened to be lucky enough to get his paperwork in early. So he's the guy who gets the credit. Vehicle we just saw. Pardon me? Four wheels. It actually has a frame, the beginnings of a dash, seating, fenders, you know, etc. Notice what side the wheel is on. The research I've done has basically shown they're all just stories. They're urban legends. Nobody really knows what the actual put it, you know, on the left. Now you notice that the tires are white. Any idea why they're white?
Natural color rubber.
Natural color rubber. Finish. What are the headlights covered? What are they plated? Brass was something that was pretty common, but nickel was a big deal. So this is like a luxury car. It has nickel plating. Notice the lamps still has the same basic idea. See the horn next to the box? Wanted to go and jump off. No insurance liability questions, etc. Today we would call that a carjacking.
This breaks down. I know.
Okay, so this family had an enormous amount of money, and so this was his race car. And you know, Andre was actually pretty successful with this vehicle. It's a very unique design. Hard to believe this is a race car. These are basically boat races, boat rallies. These aren't racing around the whole track. So they were basically cosmetic because those are steel wheels. They're just plated in copper. So I think they just thought with the color of the car looked good. Supposedly the copper plating on the heat exchanger exhaust that you're looking at, you'll see that this is obviously a race car.
You never know.
You have wire screens over the headlights. The rivets, just for the, just because that's
a lot of work.
That's yeah, no kidding.
Aluminum would have been lighter.
No, I mean that's a, you know, it's pretty much like making an airplane fuselage.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's, you know,
Exactly.
riveting all those parts, and I think just one of the really more interesting cars in the museum. 540K special roadster, and this car to me is the best personification of the Art Deco. Look at the running board that's now an integral part of the front and the rear fender. Suicide doors. By the way, anybody know why they're called suicide doors? It came from the 30s when gangsters would push somebody out of the back of a car going 60 or 70 miles an hour. And this old. In the 20s, Daimler and Benz got together to make the Daimler-Benz car company. But in the 20s, there was a Czechoslovakian businessman who said, I'll buy all of the cars that you make, but you have to name them. And kind of similar to the red Roadster, but this is pretty much a car for someone who had an enormous amount of money. This is a real luxury car. There was no shortage of illumination on these cars. Internal painted glass with a windshield wiper on either side. Notice the car over there, split glass and a windshield wiper only on the driver's side. I guess it wasn't important for the passenger to be able to see where they were going. Skirts on the rear fenders. No, those are pneumatic. Yeah, it was sort of like, you know, this is like a Chip Foose car. You know, this is like, can we just put some of the craziest stuff? It is very unique, I'll say that. Yeah, see the caning on the doors? Okay, it's kind of...
Are the fenders copper and they just painted that part?
They're plated.
Oh, it's plated.
Plated.
It's the first hood car.
It's the what?
First hood car.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Okay, this is a 1931 exotic Bugatti from the St. Travelers. Yes. St. Christopher. Those are, so you have, it's the only car that I know of that actually has St. Christopher medals built into the car. But the other thing is, I wish I could take you back here, but I'm not allowed to. The front compartment is separated from the back passengers over the driver. They all had that, it's just this one has it on. But in the summertime, you would take it off. And you think, well, yeah, gee, that's kind of leather, kind of, you know, destroyed. Remember, I think in 1900, but it was then. Okay? So let me show you the big fancy red car up here. Yeah, it's huge. If you look at it, this is a custom built. So what they did in those days, they built, you bought a chassis, you know, and a drivetrain, and you had a coach builder build. Yeah, exactly. Now the other thing about this car, aside from this is only a two-seater and it's 22 feet. This is just, this car always sits up here because it's so impressive because of its size and its color. But this is an amazing vehicle, I will say that. It's just, you know, because what you notice, the front fender skirt and the rear fender skirt are almost identical. They're just a copy of each other. The custom coach builder, and they built you the body in whatever style you wanted. The only stipulation on the Duesenberg contract was that you could not alter the front grille. That was their signature piece. So this front grille had to remain the same way. And what he did was he had a custom body built. He left the original grille inside, put this grille over the top. Then you see the exhaust manifolds, you know, coming out of the engine. And I just think this is body design. One of the nicest that came out of that era. Very pinstriping was a very sort of last touch, always understated. And it looked like bad wheels that just something went crazy on. But I want to draw your attention to the stork on the side of the car. It's the symbol of this rather. So what we have here is a 30 Rolls Royce that couldn't make up its mind whether it was a boat or a car. It does have a back seat. Yeah, or two-seater for and you notice his symbol, his royal seal, is on the board. And there is, notice this rather peculiar thing right here.
That back seat folds close?
Yeah.
That's all cool too.
It's for sunbathing. Yeah, for sunbathing on the deck. Yeah, you could either that or you could put a mast in and put a sail on it.
How do you get this car? I mean, how different?
Race car is, it doesn't have spoke wheels, it has solid metal wheels. It has black tires, not white ball tires. And it has a very, very unique sort of design, the black and the yellow. Bugatti was a fashion designer. So think of, it's the 1930s. If you come over here and look at the side, See the way this roof line, the tile that you might see on a 1950 kitchen in the United States, but that was a very, very high fashion statement. So this car has a lot of those fashion cues that Bugatti's son Jean, who was a fashion designer, incorporated into the design of this particular vehicle. But it has, oh, notice here, this was made for Maharaja in India. This was a hunting car, it's all stamped. So what do you think this is for? Guy with a gun. The Maharaja's in the backseat, because you know India is a very humid climate, and this is a hunting car.
Sounds like a barn.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Well, let's go downstairs and look at some of the newer cars. Early designs, rivets connecting the various panels. So these are obviously race cars. These are not street cars. They have leather straps holding the hood in place, plexiglass, and the tire is in the back. Now, this is a blue Ferrari. All right. Any idea why this is blue and not red, since it's a racing car?
Yes.
Because her husband was going to make her life difficult if he didn't paint it blue. So anyway, collectible Ferraris because of that TV show, because it just had that whole Miami Vice kind of vibe going on. And beautiful, beautiful car. The sort of a classic style that will never go. It'll always be classic. It'll just always be incredibly good looking. And when you compare it to, let's say, I don't know, a 58 Chevrolet or some other American, I think really subtle lines. And this was a very, very high performance car. It was pretty, you know, with the sort of mouth-like grille. So when you see that car, that's based on this car. So this is a sort of what would you call this color? Lavender. I don't know. Lavender. I don't know. It's just a strange color. This is a '63 Maserati designed by Frua, and the reason I point it out is not because I think the back seat and this wraparound rear window a little strange. And if you come on this side, you'll see an uncharacteristic, that little kind of ledge coming out. Also an interesting design. Notice the wraparound. Notice how far the rear glass is more wrap around than the front.
That's a one spot.
Yeah. This is a 1960 Maserati designed by Vignali, who was one of the very cool. Notice the slots in the rear GT Cabriolet. Just a beautiful, simple design.
Except for that light right there.
That's a U.S. Department of Transportation special. Yeah. Anytime you see something, I compare it to the one that's in the front. And I think what you'll see is that it's much more, I would just say muscular looking. It's kind of more, and that's another Zagato copy, or that's kind of part of his style. Is that he always liked cars that have sort of a very muscular looking sheet metal. And when you and by the way, whenever you see a Z battle. There's no other designer that. This was a race car. Notice a racing gas cab. And to allow this car to come into this country, they put those ridiculous looking bumpers that you want to even call them